They tried to write your ending, but you took the pen and turned their prediction into your masterpiece. Now imagine this for a moment, chosen one. Someone watching you, fully convinced you'd stay broken, muted, and small. And then suddenly you reappear, glowing in power, speaking with calm authority, moving like someone who knows exactly who they are. It's like watching a deleted character walk back into the movie and take over the lead role. You didn't just surprise them, you short-circuited their entire understanding of who you were. Studies have shown that when the brain encounters something that defies its prediction, something it can't categorize, it literally pauses, freezes, and struggles to make sense of what it's seeing. That's you right now. You're the glitch in their system. You're blowing people's minds because your existence no longer fits their outdated script. And thank you, chosen one, for being here. Don't forget to pay this message forward by pressing like and subscribe. Help spread this light to more souls who are waking up just like you. You're not just listening to a message, you're fueling a movement, and your support keeps this force alive. Thank you, truly, for being part of something much bigger than you realize. Now, let's get back to what's really happening. You, chosen one, have reached that stage where you're no longer reacting to the noise. You're rewriting the whole atmosphere. People who once dismissed you are now obsessed. The same ones who called you too much, too quiet, or too different are now scrambling to decode you. But they can't because you flipped the script on them. You changed the entire language of your life. You stopped performing for validation, and now the universe performs for you. You're the reason rooms shift, energies tighten, and whispers follow silence. When you walk in, their subconscious flinches. That's not actual. You see, the world conditioned them to expect repetition, predictable behavior, recycled souls, cloned personalities. But then you appeared. You didn't play their social games. You didn't bow to trends. You didn't shrink to fit. And when they couldn't label you, they panicked, because human psychology is wired to categorize. It's a safety mechanism. When the brain encounters something that doesn't fit its stored patterns, it triggers discomfort, even fear. So yes, chosen one, you literally scare people without trying, not because you're doing anything wrong, but because your authenticity threatens the illusion they're still living in. There's a saying, first they doubt you, then they fear you, then they copy you. You're living that in real time. The same energy that once mocked your silence is now mimicking your confidence. The same voices that laughed when you were rebuilding are now quoting your mindset. You're not following trends, you're creating them. But what truly blows their minds isn't your success. It's the way you made peace with yourself while they were at war with your image. They expected your rise to come with noise and showmanship. Instead, it came with silence, focus, and grace. And that contradiction, that's your superpower. You became the living example of what happens when pain becomes purpose, when failure becomes wisdom, when solitude becomes power. You turned every closed door into a private laboratory for reinvention. And now that you've emerged, polished by pressure, grounded by growth, they can't believe it's the same person. Because it's not. The old you died quietly the day you stopped needing approval. The new you doesn't even speak the same emotional language. You exist on frequencies their ego can't translate. You've reached that iconic status, not by pretending to be invincible, but by refusing to surrender to what broke you. Every scar on your soul has turned into architecture. Every betrayal became a blueprint. You're not lucky. You're earned. Your calm, your confidence, your glow, they're all battle medals. And when people see you now, they don't see the full story. They just see results that don't make sense. But that's what makes you dangerous. You're not performing, you're aligned. You're not desperate for attention. Attention naturally gravitates to you. And that's what flipping the script really means. You took the same storyline everyone thought they understood. Pain, struggle, loss, and you made it a legend. You took the same humiliation they used as a weapon and turned it into applause. You became proof that no one can bury a soul that was born to be seen. Even in silence, you're loud. Even in humility, you're commanding. Even in distance, you're magnetic. So when people stare, whisper, or overanalyze your every move, remember, their confusion is your confirmation. They are witnessing transformation in real time, and it's rewriting their understanding of what resilience looks like. You didn't just get better, you became unrecognizable. You outgrew their projections, and now they're stuck studying your shadow because they can't handle your light. You are not the same soul who once needed validation. You are the blueprint. You are the reversal. You are the storm that learned to smile. And that's why, Chosen One, you are blowing people's minds right now. Not because you changed too much, but because you refuse to change for them. And listen closely, Chosen One. Don't go anywhere, because what you just heard was only the opening shockwave. That was the first crack in their illusion. The real truth. It's just starting to unfold. If this beginning already shook you in your core, trust me, what's coming next will electrify your spirit. We're about to go step by step into why the world can't stop talking about you, stalking you, studying you, and how you became the script flipper they never saw coming. Drop a comment with the number 100 if you've ever felt like people couldn't believe your glow-up, your mindset shift, or your silent comeback. Because that's how you know you're one of us. And if this message hits your soul and you'd like to return the energy, consider dropping a super thanks to help fuel the force behind these transmissions. Your support doesn't just bless us, it protects the light we're spreading across the grid. Thank you, Chosen One, for being part of this mission. You're not watching this by chance. You were summoned. And now, let's dive into it, step by step. And believe me, if you're a true Chosen One, you'll feel the pull to stay until the final word. Let's get started. Number 1, the walking contradiction they can't figure out. They thought you'd break, but you came back unbreakable. They can't understand it. They just can't wrap their heads around how you came out of the storm, not only still standing, but thriving. You look too calm, too composed, too unaffected by everything they thought would destroy you. You've become a walking contradiction. You should be shattered, right? You should be a product of your struggles, weighed down by the burdens they tried to place on you. But instead, you've transformed every wound into armor. You've turned pain into purpose. You've risen from the ashes like a phoenix. But this time, you didn't just rise. You redefined what it means to be alive. And that's what makes you dangerous. It's easy for people to dismiss the broken, the ones who stay in their trauma, who let their struggles dictate their story. But what happens when someone doesn't fall apart? What happens when they take all the darkness that was thrown at them and turn it into pure light? That's what you've done. That's why they can't figure you out. They tried to predict your downfall, and instead they're left watching in awe as you shine brighter than they ever thought possible. You know what they don't get? You were never meant to be what they thought. Your whole existence defies their narrative. You are the exception, not the rule. They can't box you in, label you, or tell you who to be because you've already rewritten your story. Every time they tried to push you down, you pushed back harder. You are the walking contradiction they can't understand, and that's exactly why they're so afraid of you. You see, they thought your scars would be the end of you. They thought that every failure, every rejection, every heartbreak would break you. But instead, it made you unstoppable. Every time they thought they had you cornered, you found a way out. You were meant to survive. They thought your pain was your end game, but it was only the beginning. Your resilience didn't just make you stronger, it made you divine. This is the power of being chosen. Chosen ones are never supposed to look like everyone else, and that's exactly why they hate you. You're living proof that they are wrong. They thought they had figured you out. They thought that by controlling your circumstances, they could control your story. But they can't, because your strength doesn't come from your circumstances. It comes from within. The universe made you untouchable. Think about the greatest minds in history. They were all walking contradictions. Albert Einstein, one of the most brilliant men to ever live, was once considered a failure by his teachers. He didn't fit the mold. They thought he was a daydreamer, too abstract, too unpredictable. Yet he reshaped the world with his theories, revolutionizing science. He didn't fit into their expectations, and that's why he changed the game. You, chosen one, are on that same level. You've been underestimated, dismissed, and rejected because you didn't conform to their limited understanding of what success and strength should look like. But what they don't realize is that being different, being a contradiction, is exactly what makes you powerful. And now they're watching as you leave them behind, scratching their heads, trying to figure out what went wrong. The truth is simple. They never understood you, and they never will. And here's the real kicker. They tried to make you doubt yourself. They saw your potential, but they couldn't handle it, so they tried to make you question it. They wanted to box you in, put limits on your life, and make you believe that you were too much or not enough. But chosen ones don't doubt. We just know. You didn't need their validation to know your worth. And that's what terrifies them the most. When you refused to break, when you refused to crumble under their expectations, you became a force. You became a mirror to their insecurities. You became the very thing they feared most. Someone who could rise from the ashes and be more than they ever thought possible. You didn't just survive, you thrived. You didn't just overcome, you dominated. They thought you'd be a statistic, a story of failure, but instead, you're writing your own legend. They'll never understand how you did it. They'll never grasp the depth of your strength, because the truth is, they'll always be too shallow to see it. And that's okay, because you don't need their understanding to keep moving forward. Your destiny doesn't require their approval. You are already aligned with a power that they can never comprehend. So when they look at you, confused, threatened, even angry, know this: it's not about you, it's about them. It's about their inability to accept that they will never be able to put you in a box. They'll never control your narrative. You have the pen now, and you're writing a story they'll never be able to finish. They'll keep trying to label you, categorize you, and judge you. But you already know what they don't. You are not defined by your past, your struggles, or their expectations. You are defined by your actions, your choices, and your unwavering belief that you are destined for greatness. They can't figure you out because you're not supposed to be figured out. You are a living enigma, an ever-evolving masterpiece. And as long as you stay true to that, they will never catch up. The world doesn't get it, and they never will. They want to label you, pigeonhole you, and make you something they can control. But they can't, because you don't fit. You weren't made to fit. You were born to break the mold, to shatter the narrative, and to rise above what they thought was possible. They thought you were a casualty of your circumstances, but you proved them wrong. And that's why you're here, to remind the world that the impossible is only impossible become possible until someone like you proves it's not. So, chosen one, as you walk through this world, unapologetically yourself, unbreakable and untouchable, remember this: you were always meant to be a walking contradiction. They can't understand you, and they never will. And that's why you're going to change the game. The world is watching, but it's you who holds the power. You hold the keys to a new narrative, and you're about to flip this script in ways they can't even begin to imagine. This is your time. This is your moment to show the world just how powerful you really are. Keep walking your path, chosen one, because the world isn't ready for what's coming next. Number 2, you refuse to be their environment's product. They needed you to mirror their misery, but instead you became a reflection of everything they fear they'll never be. Let's get this straight. They weren't rooting for you. They weren't hoping you'd heal, rise, or rewrite your story. They needed you broken. They needed you to fold. They needed you to reflect their dysfunction, to validate their stuckness by staying stuck right beside them. Because if you had stayed down, it would have proven their point. No one makes it out. But instead, you walked out like the fire never touched you. And now, they don't know what to do with you. Chosen one, you were supposed to become the product of your environment. That was the unspoken script. Grow up in pain, stay in pain, be raised in chaos, carry it forward. They handed you dysfunction wrapped in tradition and expected you to wear it like a family heirloom. But you didn't. You shattered it. You snapped the generational chain. You didn't just survive it, you rejected it. And that's what's flipping their minds. Now imagine this: a rose growing out of concrete. No soil, no gardener, no help. Just raw willpower and divine programming. That's you. While they tried to explain you through trauma, excuses, and limitation, you became the exception. You turned dysfunction into discipline. They expected you to be just another product stamped out of the same broken mold, but you cracked it and redesigned the entire system. And now they're stuck in the ruins of the narrative they built around you. The same people who laughed when you started meditating, journaling, detoxing, or even just walking away from drama, they're watching you now, trying to act like they didn't doubt you. But they did. They were betting on your silence. They thought trauma had your name tattooed on it for life. They never imagined you'd take all of that chaos and transmute it into clarity. But you did. You didn't inherit their broken beliefs. You audited them. You questioned what they never dared to, and that alone already made you dangerous. You didn't choose victimhood. You chose power. And when a chosen one chooses power, the whole bloodline shakes. Some of you came from households that normalized dysfunction, where yelling was love, silence was punishment, and survival was the only goal. But you weren't just built to survive. You were designed to lead. You were called to break out of patterns so old they were mistaken for identity, and that terrifies people who are still tangled in those patterns. They'll ask you, "Who do you think you are?" But that's not a question. It's a confession. It's their way of saying, "I don't have the courage to be who I want to be, so how dare you do it so freely?" They didn't think you were strong enough to walk away from toxic parents, manipulative lovers, or fake friendships. They thought you'd stay like everyone else, but instead you grew beyond recognition. You didn't carry their wounds. You healed them, and that's why they resent you. This is what being chosen really looks like. It's not always about spotlight and applause. Sometimes it's about being the only one who dares to say, "This stops with me." It's about turning dysfunction into legacy, pain into prophecy, wounds into weapons. You didn't just flip the script. You wrote a new language. You spoke healing into a bloodline that only knew hurt. Think about Oprah Winfrey, Born into poverty, molested as a child, pregnant at 14, her environment screamed statistic, but she didn't reflect it. She redefined it. She made history. She built empires, and now she's a blueprint for transformation. That's the power of refusing to be your environment's product. The world loves to talk about resilience, but real resilience doesn't look glamorous. It looks like late nights crying alone. It looks like walking away from the people you thought would always be your family. It looks like being mocked for choosing peace over dysfunction. You did all of that without applause and still kept going. So yes, chosen one, they're wondering how. How did you make it out when they're still circling the same cycles? How did you get your mind right when they're still ruled by triggers? The answer is simple. You chose something different. And every day, you keep choosing it. That's what makes you chosen. Not just your gifts or your insight, but your choices. You don't feed the same demons they worship. You don't participate in the pain Olympics. You don't keep trauma alive just to feel important. You chose freedom, and that made you unforgettable. You're not confused about who you are anymore. You used to second-guess yourself, shrink to make others comfortable, bite your tongue to keep the peace. But now you walk with your chest open and your spirit sharp. Because once you realize you're not obligated to carry other people's damage, you become light. Not naive, just untethered. And that freedom? It's magnetic. That's why they're watching. That's why they're triggered. That's why they're scared. People hate what they can't control, and you've become uncontrollable. Your glow, your discipline, your elevation, they're not accidents, they're revolutions. You didn't get lucky. You got real. You got honest about what wasn't serving you, and then you let it burn. Let them wonder how you're so grounded after the quake. Let them keep questioning your peace. You don't owe anyone an explanation for the healing they refuse to pursue. You are not the echo of your past. You're the voice of a new future. And that voice, it's loud, not in volume, but in vibration. People feel it in your walk, your silence, your decisions. You move like someone who knows what it cost to get here. And you're not letting anyone drag you back. You didn't just survive your environment, you rose above it, you outgrew it. You proved that pain can be a passage, not a prison, and that's what they can't stand. You're no longer their mirror. You don't reflect the chaos anymore. You reflect clarity, power, purpose, and that reflection exposes them. So when they talk, and they will, just smile. Because every whisper is a compliment, every glare is confirmation. You're not who they thought you'd be. You're better. You're beyond. You are the living proof that greatness is not about where you're from, but what you refuse to become. Number 3. Your energy feels alien because it is. You don't walk into a room, you shift the entire atmosphere, and that's exactly why they stare. Chosen one, let's make this clear. It's not just your appearance that stuns people, it's your presence. It's your silence that speaks louder than their shouting. It's the way your energy enters 10 seconds before your body does. You've probably noticed it. The awkward glances, the nervous laughs, the way conversations pause the second you walk in. That's not imagination, that's impact. You're vibrating at a frequency most people have never even visited. You didn't just change the energy, you are the energy. You feel alien to them because in many ways you are not of this world, at least not in the way they understand it. You're coded differently, built with DNA that doesn't just carry bloodlines, but blueprints. While they're still waking up, you've already seen through the illusion. While they follow trends, you walk paths that don't even have names yet. And that, right there, is what makes you the anomaly. Not because you try to stand out, but because you can't blend in. Now imagine this, an eagle flying through a world full of pigeons. That's what your life has felt like. The skies are the same, but the way you move through them, completely different. You don't flap for attention. You soar in silence. And the thing is, pigeons hate what they can't become, so they mock what they don't understand. But when you see the world from above, you stop explaining yourself to the ones still stuck on the ground. People can't figure you out because your soul has memory, ancient memory. You walk with the knowledge of lifetimes, and even if you don't fully remember where it all comes from, you feel it. You've always felt it. That quiet pull toward something bigger. That knowing that goes beyond words, that ability to read a room before a single word is said. These aren't quirks, they're signatures, proof that you carry something eternal inside of you. And that's why people don't respond to you like they do with others, because when they encounter you, they aren't just meeting another human, they're standing face to face with energy they've never felt before. Some are fascinated, others are frightened, most are confused, but all of them are affected. You leave an imprint even when you're silent. That's not charisma, that's spiritual gravity. You ever notice how strangers open up to you? How people confess their secrets without knowing why? That's not random, it's because your aura is magnetic. It tells the truth without needing to speak. Your energy is a sanctuary for some and a mirror for others. A mirror that shows them the parts of themselves they've been trying to avoid. And when people aren't ready to face themselves, you become the threat. That's why some distance themselves from you without explanation. That's why you feel people pull away after being pulled toward you. Your frequency exposes their fakeness, their ego, their self-denial. And not everyone's ready for that type of confrontation. Not everyone's ready to be seen that deeply. But don't shrink, chosen one. Don't water it down. The world doesn't need more imitation. It needs authentic disruption. That's what you are. You don't vibe, you broadcast. And your signal is too strong for those still addicted to noise. You came here with codes, soul technology, instructions for healing, for remembering, for realigning. And when you speak, even when you joke, something in your voice carries truth. That's not by accident, that's design. There are people in your life right now who are still trying to figure out why they can't forget you, why they feel drained around others but energized around you, why they're drawn to you but at the same time intimidated by your peace. It's because your energy exposes the hollowness in theirs. You remind them of what they buried, of what they lost, of who they could have been if they had faced their pain instead of numbing it. You didn't come here to blend in. You came to wake up the sleeping ones, not with force, but with frequency. And that's the thing. Frequency doesn't ask permission. It just is. Your presence alone is doing what entire lectures couldn't. People leave you thinking about things they never considered before. Your laugh heals. Your silence teaches. Your very existence disrupts the systems of control they've built around their identity. Even when you were young, they told you you were too intense, too sensitive, too much. But what they were really saying was, we're not ready for someone like you. And that's fine, because not everyone is supposed to have access to you. You weren't made for the crowd. You were made for the few who are ready to rise. You've probably wondered, why do I always feel different? Why do I get drained so easily in crowds? Why do people either love me obsessively or avoid me completely? It's not because something's wrong with you. It's because something's awakened in you. You're not a social chameleon. You're a spiritual transmitter. You don't change colors to fit the room. The room changes color to match you. That's power, that's purpose, that's being chosen. So when people tell you they feel off around you, believe them. When they say something about you is just different, take it as confirmation. You're not like them, you never were, and you're not here to be. You were sent here to remind others of something their soul forgot, and just your presence alone is doing that work. They can call it weird, they can call it arrogant, they can call it intimidating, but what they can't call it is fake, because you carry something real in a world built on performance. And whether they admit it or not, they feel it. You are not here to lower your frequency to be accepted. You are here to hold your frequency so others can rise. That's why you don't chase. That's why you're done explaining. You're not hard to understand. You're just not easy to manipulate. You're not mysterious. They're just not tuned in. So keep walking, keep broadcasting, keep being that alien frequency in a world full of static. Let them stare, let them whisper, let them wonder. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be remembered. And trust me, chosen one, they will never forget you. Number 4, they tried to study you, but the pages keep catching fire. They wanted the recipe, but they couldn't handle the fire that baked the bread. Chosen one, let's be blunt, they've been trying to figure you out for years and still can't crack the code. They take notes on how you move, how you speak, how you hold your silence like a weapon. They mimic your phrases, copy your style, steal your energy in fragments, hoping that if they mirror you long enough, they might become what you are. But here's the hard truth. You can't study a soul that was sculpted in storms. You can't replicate a frequency that was downloaded in solitude, and you damn sure can't imitate someone who's still evolving in real time, because by the time they decode your past, you're already 3 dimensions ahead. Now imagine this, a group of amateurs trying to reverse engineer a spacecraft with cave tools. That's what it's like when they try to study you. They read your every move like it's a playbook, only to realize the pages they're turning are blank. Or worse, bursting into flames. Why? Because the script you're living wasn't written for public access. It's not archived in books. It's alive, fluid, unfolding through intuition, protection, and a direct line to forces they'll never be allowed to touch. They think you're just lucky. They assume your glow is surface level. They don't see the brutal rewrites you went through behind the scenes, the spiritual edits, the emotional red lines, the whole chapters you had to burn just to survive. You're not a product of trends or social mimicry. You're not a remix of someone else's success story. You're an original manuscript, carved from silence, sealed by pain, and protected by energy that defies logic. And that's why they hate you. That's why they obsess, because everything they chase externally, you've cultivated internally. They spend money to look confident. You radiate power just by breathing. They rehearse scripts to sound wise. You speak truth straight from the marrow. They jump from crowd to crowd, desperate to be seen, but you walk alone and still get followed. You weren't made in the spotlight, and that's why you don't need it. Your brilliance was born in the dark. In those hours no one clapped for, when all you had was your mind, your scars, and the silence that taught you everything. That's where your wisdom fermented. That's where your essence was distilled. That's what gives you that glow they can't imitate, because imitation only works when you understand the source. And your source? It's untouchable. You were forged in seasons they prayed to avoid, betrayals that would have crushed them, loneliness that would have snapped their minds in half. You held on, you evolved, and now they want the final result without surviving the process. But that's the catch. You are the process. You don't just wear resilience, you embody it. and that makes you unreadable to people who only understand surface-level survival. You ever wonder why the people who tried to mock you later tried to become you? Why the ones who used to laugh at your solitude now try to imitate your stillness? It's because your isolation didn't break you. It refined you. And they don't have that kind of patience. They want shortcuts to soul work. They want cliff notes for character development. But you can't plagiarize the path of someone who walked through fire and learned how to speak flame. When they look at you now, they see something untouchable, but that wasn't always the case. There was a time you were overlooked, underestimated, even discarded, and yet you never begged to be seen. You kept writing your script in silence. You let the universe flip the pages when it was time. And now, you're becoming the plot twist they never saw coming, a walking testimony that evolution doesn't ask for permission, it just arrives. So when they try to decode your aura, when they try to extract your essence and bottle it for their own use, understand this: they're chasing shadows, because your real power isn't in your words or your style, it's in your journey. It's in what you survived quietly. And no one can steal that. No one can reproduce what was born in isolation and strengthened by things they'll never have the stomach for. Even if they steal your phrases, wear your look, mimic your confidence, they're just walking around in costumes, hollow, echoing versions of something they never earned. Because the truth is, power that isn't rooted in pain is just performance. And performance always cracks under pressure. You don't crack, you rise, you adapt. You turn silence into strategy and pain into blueprint. You evolve in such secrecy that by the time they announce your downfall, you've already reinvented yourself again. So let them keep trying to read you. Let them keep printing pages that catch fire the moment they're touched. They'll never understand how your story keeps rewriting itself mid-sentence, how you stay one plot twist ahead of their predictions. You are not meant to be understood by everyone, chosen one. You're meant to be felt, and that's what's happening right now. They feel you. They feel the pressure of your presence, the power of your evolution, the disruption of your energy in their predictable little systems. You're not the hero they expected. You're the paradox that breaks their narrative apart. They're still asking, how are you doing this? But deep down, they know. You were never meant to be studied. You were meant to shatter frameworks, keep being the book they can't read, the formula they can't replicate, the wildfire they can't control. Because the more they try to copy you, the more they remind the world who the original is. Number 5, you made your own rules, and they're mad about it. They hate that you stopped playing their game and still started winning. Let's call it what it is, chosen one. They're not mad because you changed. They're mad because you changed without their permission. You didn't ask for approval, didn't wait for the group chat to agree, didn't bend to their dusty traditions or recycled beliefs. You threw the old script in the fire and wrote a new one, in your own language. And ever since then, the universe has been showing up with blessings that don't make sense to them. You eat differently, think differently. You dress how you want, speak how you feel, believe in what resonates, and that burns them. Why? Because they're still trapped in identities built by their environment, still defending rules they never even wrote. And you? You walked out of the maze and somehow came out glowing. It's infuriating to them. They want to know, how did you escape? Who gave you the right? The answer: your soul did. You didn't rebel to be edgy. You rebelled because your spirit couldn't breathe inside their box. While they were debating who's right, you aligned with truth. You turned inward, calibrated your compass, and the universe responded with favor, peace, clarity, and movement. So now, while they fight to maintain illusions, you're out here manifesting reality. That's why they gossip. That's why they roll their eyes when you walk in. That's why they mock your beliefs, your food, your style. Because every time you show up, it reminds them they're still seeking outside what you've already found within. And here's what hurts them the most. You don't need their validation, and yet you're still being blessed, still evolving, still winning. That shatters their whole worldview. Keep going. Keep rewriting rules that never fit your spirit. The universe isn't just watching, it's walking beside you. Let them talk. You're building what they'll never understand. Number 6. Your silence is louder than their screaming. They screamed for attention, and your silence became their punishment. Chosen one, nothing unnerves the enemy more than your calm. They poked, prodded, plotted, hoping you'd snap, lash out, or crumble. But instead of reacting, you went quiet. And that silence, it echoed louder than 1,000 insults. It was a mirror they weren't ready to face. While they threw tantrums trying to drag you into their chaos, you stayed rooted like a mountain, unbothered, unreachable, and that shook them to their core. You see, the enemy expected a show. They wanted to feel powerful by seeing you react, but you robbed them of that fuel. You didn't post about them. You didn't vent to mutuals. You didn't fall apart or play victim. You disappeared into growth. And the next time they looked up, you were unrecognizable, sharper, stronger, glowing, evolving, silent. And now, they're haunted by the questions your silence left behind. Are they mad at me? Did they figure me out? Are they planning something? That's the beauty of your stillness. It leaves them scrambling for answers you'll never give. Your refusal to engage became their inner war. Every time they scream into the void, the lack of your response echoes back like thunder. Let's be clear, silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. The universe fights battles on your behalf when you stay in alignment. While they lower themselves, you elevate. While they get messy, you get more mysterious. Your silence speaks volumes about your power, your control, and your refusal to be pulled into energies you've outgrown. Let them scream, let them chase shadows. You're already 10 moves ahead, operating in realms they can't reach. Your peace? That's the real clapback. Your stillness? That's the storm. And the universe? It hears your silence louder than any noise they'll ever make. Keep rising without a sound. Number 7. They want your wisdom without your wounds. They crave your shine, but could never afford your scars. Chosen one, they want the finished product, not the process. They praise your glow, but forget you earned it bleeding. They quote your resilience, but ignore the nights you screamed into your pillow, praying for clarity. They want your peace, but not your path, your wisdom, but not your wounds. And that's where they expose themselves, because they don't understand that power isn't inherited, it's forged. Every ounce of light in you came from walking through your own darkness without a map. You see, they envy your balance, but never saw the chaos that built it. They look at your calm and think it's natural, not realizing it's discipline. You didn't get lucky. You got tested. Over and over. You learn to alchemize pain into perspective, betrayal into strategy, heartbreak into purpose. That's not something you can copy. That's something you have to survive. Now imagine this. Chosen one, someone staring at a diamond and saying, "I want that sparkle," without realizing it was once coal crushed under unimaginable pressure. That's you. The pressure made you shine. The trauma trained your intuition. The isolation sharpened your discernment. They want your wisdom, but could never carry the weight of the lessons that gave it shape. They ask, Why are you so calm? Because you've seen storms louder than their opinions. Why don't you react? Because you've already fought battles they couldn't even name. How are you so sure of yourself? Because you rebuilt yourself from the ground up, without applause, without backup, without shortcuts. Let them keep wanting the rewards of your resilience without paying the price of your suffering. The universe saw every tear, every moment you chose growth over revenge, and it's rewarding you accordingly. They'll keep envying your peace, never knowing it was born in fire. You didn't just heal, you transformed. And that's why your wisdom intimidates them. It's ancient, it's earned, and it's untouchable. Number 8. You hold the keys to realms they've never even visited. They mock what they don't understand, then beg you to teach them once it works. Chosen one, you're not just another person in the room. You're a gatekeeper, a code holder, a receiver of messages the average mind isn't calibrated to handle. You've been getting whispers from the universe that no textbook could ever capture. And that alone terrifies them, not because you're loud, but because your quiet knowing tears down their entire illusion. You see through people before they open their mouths. You sense the truth hiding behind their smiles. That kind of vision? It wasn't taught, it was downloaded. And here's the kicker, you didn't ask for this. The universe handed you keys most can't even see, realms of intuition, healing, energy reading. It flows through you like breath. While they chase surface-level success, you operate in dimensions where intention shapes reality. They live in reaction. You live in alignment. They follow maps. You follow signals. They need evidence. You get confirmation through silence. That's why they label you weird, too intense, too deep. It's projection. They're scared of what you awaken in them. You remind them that they've been living small, and they hate you for that mirror. But deep down, they know you're plugged into something ancient, something powerful, something real. They try to shrink you with logic, but your spirit was never built to fit their tiny frameworks. You're tapped into timelines they've never touched, frequencies they've never tuned into, realms they'll never access without shedding their ego. And instead of being curious, they get offended. Instead of learning, they lash out. But let them burn their bridges with you. Because the universe is building you a kingdom that doesn't require their validation, only your vibration. They will always fear what they can't label, so stay quiet, stay tuned in, and keep walking through doors they'll never even find. You're not here to be understood, you're here to open gates. Number 9, your aura triggers their insecurities like an alarm clock. You weren't loud, you were just real, and that alone made them uncomfortable. Chosen one, your very presence acts like a silent alarm clock. You don't have to speak a word, just being in the room shifts the energy. Suddenly, people who were comfortable wearing masks start fidgeting. The moment your healed spirit walks in, their wounds begin to itch. And it's not because you're doing anything wrong. It's because your growth exposes everything they've tried to hide. You see, your aura reflects the work you've done. It carries the quiet power of someone who faced their shadows and didn't flinch. Most people never go that deep. They numb it, avoid it, bury it. So when someone like you shows up, whole, calm, unbothered, it disturbs their illusion of peace. You become a walking contradiction to their comfort zone. Your confidence makes their insecurity scream. Your clarity makes their confusion louder. Your boundaries highlight their desperation for validation. Ever wonder why people start acting weird around you? Backhanded compliments, sudden distance, unprovoked hostility. It's not about you, it's about what your presence reflects back to them. You woke up something they weren't ready to face, and now they blame you for the sound of the alarm. But let's be real, their resentment is proof of your evolution, because people don't throw stones at what doesn't shake them. You didn't hurt them, you held up a mirror, and the reflection made them flinch. That's not your guilt to carry. That's their work to do. So don't shrink to make them feel safe in their dysfunction. The universe didn't pour all this healing, wisdom, and resilience into you just so you could tiptoe around fragile egos. You are a force, a mirror, a messenger, and the truth is your presence was the wake-up call their souls secretly asked for. Whether they like it or not, the alarm has gone off. And you've already risen. Number 10. You've got people lurking and livid, but protected beyond belief. They threw shade, spells, and slander, but all they got back was silence and success. Chosen one, you've got watchers, not fans, lurkers. People who scroll through your life like it's a crime scene, hunting for cracks in your foundation. They stalk your presence online and off, disguising curiosity as criticism. Every post, every smile, every step forward you take, they dissect it, not to understand you, but to undo you. But here's what they don't get. You're not walking this path unprotected. You are watched over by something far beyond what they can comprehend. While they waste time plotting your downfall, the universe is reinforcing your protection. They throw darts, but you walk through fire untouched. They send energy meant to distract, delay, or destroy, but it all gets returned to sender. Why? Because your life isn't run by their projections. It's powered by divine alignment, and that kind of force can't be faked or fumbled. Their obsession has turned into torment. Every time they check in, you're further ahead, still growing, still glowing, still guarded. And the worst part? They can't stop watching. Their envy is an open wound, and you are the salt. You're not just protected, you're untouchable, and it drives them insane. See, what they really want isn't just your downfall. They want to interrupt your peace. But your silence is louder than their noise. Your focus is stronger than their interference. And the more they watch, the more they realize they have no access, no entry, no power. That's the real punishment. Not just seeing you thrive, but realizing they'll never be a part of it. So don't waste energy clapping back. Keep moving in silence. Stay in your lane. Let the universe handle the return policy on all the energy they send. Because when you're chosen, you don't need revenge. Your glow is the justice. And the ones lurking? They'll keep watching from behind locked doors, because your life is a realm they were never meant to enter. Number 11. They hate your discipline because it exposes their lack of it. You didn't get lucky, you got focused, and that's what haunts them. Chosen one, let's be clear, they don't hate your glow, they hate the grind that created it. They don't mock your lifestyle because it's wrong, they mock it because they could never maintain it. The truth is, your discipline exposes their laziness. Your habits hold up a mirror to everything they said they'd do, but never followed through on. And when people see you living proof that commitment creates transformation, they get bitter. Because now there's no excuse left for their mediocrity. You chose the long road. You gave up comfort to chase alignment. While they scrolled, you studied. While they partied, you healed. While they gossiped, you grew. And now they're uncomfortable in your presence. Not because you're doing too much, but because they're doing too little. You became the proof that effort works. And that's a hard pill to swallow for people who only pretend to want better. Have you noticed how they try to downplay your progress? Oh, they're just lucky. They changed, but they think they're better now. These are coping mechanisms. What they really want to say is, I couldn't do what you did. But pride won't let them admit it. So instead, they throw shade. Because accepting your level would mean facing their own lack of discipline. But you didn't come this far to babysit their insecurities. You didn't put in years of internal work just to shrink around people who chose shortcuts. The universe is rewarding you publicly for what you sacrificed privately. And it's only the beginning. Let them talk, let them squirm. Every meal you skipped, every night you stayed up, every day you chose alignment over chaos. It's all showing now, and no amount of gossip can dim that. You're not perfect, but you're principled. You're not better than them, you're just better than who you used to be, and that truth alone is enough to burn their comfort zone to the ground. Keep going, chosen one. You're not just disciplined, you're dangerous with it. And now, chosen one, let's wrap this up with truth they can't deny. You're not just surviving, you're setting the tone. You're not following trends. You are the shift, your resilience, your voice, your glow. It's not just inspiring, it's a blueprint. You are living, breathing proof that the future belongs to those bold enough to rewrite the rules. So don't dim, don't doubt, just lead. If this message hit your spirit, drop 77 in the comments to claim it. Like, subscribe, and share this with another soul who needs this fire. Thank you for being part of the mission, chosen one. Let's keep shaking the world.